Okay, good morning, everyone. So today, again, an important topic, which is a part of profiles. So we were discussing about profile section. In that, one of the most important profile which comes is SSL profile. So in SSL, we will see two types of profile. One is client SSL and one is server SSL. So this SSL profile, why it is needed and what is client SSL, what is server SSL, what is certificate, and how we can apply the certificate. So we will talk about certificate apply. Then we will talk about renewal, how we can renew the certificate. We will also talk about certificate authority. Okay, so this all task we will see in today's class. Why it is needed. So before that, guys, I need to give you some basics of SSL and SSL handshake, which are important to understand SSL. So we will go through the basics first, then we will see other things in detail about F5. And one of the important topic also comes is self-signed certificate versus certificate authority. So all this topic first we will discuss today, then we will see other things later on. So guys, when we talk about client coming to F5, then F5 is forwarding the traffic to server 1, server 2, server 3. In that case, let's say my website is SIANETS.com and people are accessing this website on HTTP. Let's say this is a public internet. In public internet, this is your website. And this is hosted on F5. This is a virtual IP which is created on F5. Now, what is the security issue in this, guys? Whenever we use any feature, we need to understand why we need to use it. Anyone, why I say that there is a security issue in this? Let's say the middleman hacker comes into the picture. What he can do? And this website is a banking website. I'm assuming this website is a banking website which customer is accessing on HTTP. So guys, first of the loophole is it is not encrypted. Okay. Second thing is this website is what does encrypted and encrypted means is this says HTTP. So it is a plain text. So anyone can read the data which is getting transferred from client to F5 or F5 to client. Anyone can read. Any packet they can read or examine. Nothing is required. So if I apply a credit card number, if I add my password, everything will be plain text. Very, very important. So that is why there is a concept which came into picture is SSL. And SSL is a part of your HTTPS. It also works under HTTP protocol, but it is a combination of HTTP plus S. Now what will happen? Client will initiate a traffic to F5 and this one will be encrypted. Even a hacker can get an access of this transaction. He cannot read or delete the data. So that is why it's called encrypted data. So SSL makes help to make a plain text data to encrypted data. Nowadays, guys, SSL is no more used. It is replaced by TLS. And in TLS, they are using version 1.2. Now they have initiated 1.3 also. Previously, SSL was there, SSL versions were there, but due to vulnerabilities in that protocol, they have upgraded to TLS. That is the main thing you need to understand. First, why HTTPS is required and what is SSL TLS. Both are same protocol, but TLS is more secure nowadays, guys. What is the full form of SSL? Secure socket layer. And what is the full form of TLS? It is called transport layer security. So that is the difference between SSL and TLS. And what makes it secure? It is secured by HTTPS certificate. So whenever you access website, guys, what you look over first? Anyone tell me? When you access any website, what are the things you should see so that my website is secure? How you will trust that website, guys? Let's say I access SIANETS.com. What will be the first thing you will see in this maybe this is a phishing page, right? I am not sure. Maybe this website is a phishing page. How you will make sure that this is not a phishing page, guys? Anyone? So first you will see padlock sign. Even this is padlock. It does not mean it is secure. So what you will see, you go into this padlock. After that, guys, very, very important point I am telling you, you need to go to this. Whether this certificate is valid or not. Your certificate can be expired. Your certificate might be self-signed. So you need to check this. You go here, click here, guys. You need to check this. Very, very important, guys. Who has issued this certificate? Your certificate should always be issued by your certificate authority, guys. It should never be self-signed certificate, guys. Very, very important. Your certificate is an electronic document that is used to identify the website. Who is the owner? And the certificate you need to register through certificate authority, guys. Because you are paying a fees. When you buy a certificate, for your domain. Let's say I want to publish SIANETS.com on my internet. Then I will buy a certificate, and certificate is bought from certificate authority, guys. Very, very important, guys. Always check whether certificate is been assigned by certificate authority or not, guys. So this is the organization. I hope you have seen GoDaddy, DigiCert. These are your certificate authorities. GoDaddy, DigiCert. These all are your certificate authority. So these are the organization which will validate your identity, such as your website name, your email ID, person name, and then they will issue you a document which is called digital certificate. Very, very important, guys. So digital certificate, what does certificate do, guys? Certificate basically validate your identity, encryption and authentication, guys. So when we talk about digital certificate, it provides you CIA, confidentiality, authentication, and integrity. So that is why you need a certificate from certificate authority, guys. I will show you what are the things which you need to. So there is a concept called certificate signing request, CSR, which you need to generate. So how you will get it? Let me explain you. First thing, you need to check your website. Then you need to check by who has issued it, certificate authority. After that also, guys, you need to check this validity period when your certificate is getting expired. So guys, you don't think that certificates are free. So let's say I want to buy a certificate from, I will say SSL certificate for website. I will just write this. So I will go to anyone. Let's say this cheap SSL security. So I will tell you how you generate. Can you see this? It will give you the details, which certificate you want. Whether you want wildcard certificate, you want domain certificate. See here. There are different websites which comes into picture. So you will add this card. Here it will give you, can you see this? 6 years. I'm getting 6 years certificate in $29. So here I will enter my organization name, my email ID, payment method, and then I will get a certificate. So this is your certificate authority which is being issued. Many websites are there. GoDaddy is there. DigiCert is there. So see. So how many types of certificates are there, guys? One is domain. Domain certificate is, let's say, SIANETS.com. One certificate is wildcard. What does that mean, guys? You need to understand difference between domain level certificate, wildcard certificate, and another one is SAN certificate. See, basics are important. SSL people know, but some people will ask this question: what is the difference between SIANETS.com domain level certificate? What does wild certificate means, and what does SAN certificate means? So you need to here decide it. First, let's say I want to buy SSL certificate domain level. So I will go here. I will add to a cart. Now here you will get everything. Can you see this? When I give it, do you want to protect one website? It will say, do you want to protect one website? This is called your domain level certificate. So when I purchase SIANETS.com, I buy a certificate and I paid some money for 1 year. So it's up to you whether you want to buy for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Then you need to renew it. That is why sometime you will heard that certificate is getting expired. Certificate is getting expired. So that is what certificate is, because it has a validity period, guys. That is very, very important, guys. Every certificate has a time by which time it will get expired. Okay. Now, this is your domain level certificate, but can you see this? Multiple level certificates. This is called SAN. When you need to purchase this, SAN certificates are basically those certificates when you want to secure multiple domains on a single certificate. Let's say you have a brother and sister websites. You have a family. In your family, you are using multiple domains. I am using vidit.com. Hemu is using with hemu.com. Then our marketing team has marketing.com. So what I will say, this is my websites. My company has multiple websites, but I want to protect from single certificate. That is where your SAN certificate comes into picture, guys. Very, very important. Okay. So that is where it is coming into picture. So very, very important, guys. So who implemented SAN? Who implemented? It comes under this. When you need to protect multiple websites, then you need a SAN certificate. Okay. Now, what is wildcard? Wildcard certificate are, guys, when your multiple domains, your parent domain is same. Can you see this? The wildcards are like abc.com. Then it will be sianets.abc.com. Then it will be vidit.abc.com. These are same. Your parent domain is same, but you have multiple child domain. See this. You have one primary domain and then you have unlimited subdomains. Please take care of this, guys. Very, very important. This will be asked in every interview. What is the difference between domain certificate, SAN certificate, and wildcard certificate? Okay, guys. This is been because these concepts are very, very important. This will be asked in every interview. What are WAN certificate? What is domain certificate? What is SAN certificate? So that's why I am telling you this thing in detail. Now let's go further on. So this was all about your different types of certificate and how you need to buy it. Okay, and how it got expired. Now you can see the cost. Here you can see the cost for 1 year, 2 years, and 3 years. So that was all about certificates and SSL. Now I was talking about SSL versus TLS. HTTPS we have seen. HTTPS means when you want your website to be secured by an S. What does HTTPS mean? Simple language. You want your website to be secured by SSL certificate. That is a simple meaning of SSL or HTTPS. Plus, you want to see whether your certificate does not have expired. That is the first thing you need to see. Second thing, whether this certificate is issued by a certificate authority and who is the owner of the certificate. So all these details you will see by the lock symbol. Okay. So SSL versus TLS both are same thing, but TLS is more advanced. It is the more secure version of. So right now TLS 1.2 and 1.3 are more secure, guys. So whenever you apply your certificates, make sure your certificates are TLS 1.2. So I will discuss about ciphers. So there are two things which comes into picture, ciphers and protocol. So your protocol should be negotiating using TLS 1.2 or 1.3. When SSL handshake happens, there are two things which are important. One is protocol and one is cipher suits. So it is more secure version of SSL. Who is this? Who is this? Okay. Now here that is only the different. It's just an updated, more secure version of SSL. Now, guys, certificate also I have shown. If someone asks you about certificate, what is certificate? As an interviewer, I will ask about what is certificate in SSL. Who can answer this? If I just ask you a question, what is a certificate in a normal language? So certificate is just an electronic document that is used to identify individual that can use to identify your server, that can use to identify your company. And this certificate is associated by public key, guys. So it is just like a driver license, passport, or a student ID. Certificate helps to identify that your website owner, your person identity, who is the person identity. Now, guys, When I talk about SSL certificate has how many keys, guys? Anyone? When I talk about SSL certificate, how many keys are there in SSL certificate? One is public key and one is private key. Why we need require two keys? Anyone? Why we require two keys in SSL? Anyone on the chat? Why we require public key and private key when SSL happens? Why we require two keys? That is a question. So let's take an example of a bank. In bank, you must have a locker. When you operate a locker, you have one key with you that is called private key, and you have one key which is public key. Is it? Do you have both the keys when you operate a locker in bank? Public key and private key? Wrong. When you go to website or when you go to bank to operate a locker, you always carry your private key and public key always remains with the bank. So first, when you go to open a locker in your bank, they will say your locker number, then they will go with you. So when you want to open a locker, guys, in this case, they will enter their public key and you need to then apply your private key. Only then you will be open your locker. So that is the layman language which I want to tell you what is public key and private key. Now, why both the keys are required as a normal language? So public key is basically used to encrypt your data and private key is used to decrypt your data. That is the meaning of both the keys. If someone asks you what is public key and private key. So these keys work together to establish a secure connection. So public key is used to encrypt your data and private key is needed to decrypt your data. That we will talk about in SSL handshake in next topic. But you need to know why we require two keys in SSL handshake also. That is important. Okay. That is two things which I wanted to cover with certificate. So when you get a certificate now, in that you will get a this also keys. They will give you private key will remain with you, but they will give you a public key. When certificate authority will issue a certificate, you will get a public key also, guys. Now, one question I have as an interview, this question will ask in every interview. Why, in which case in SSL handshake public key is required? In which case in SSL your private key is required? Anyone can answer. Whether SSL handshake or SSL is an asymmetric algo or symmetric, anyone? When we talk about SSL handshake or SSL TLS, is it asymmetric or symmetric? They use asymmetric keys or symmetric keys, guys. Anyone? This is an interviewer. SSL is an asymmetric and algo or symmetric. That is important. This will be symmetric encryption versus asymmetric encryption in F5. Anyone? In which case asymmetric encryption is used? In which case symmetric encryption is used? Does SSL TLS uses both asymmetric and symmetric? So guys, this question as an interviewer, I will also ask. So when I talk about SSL and TLS, guys, SSL and TLS uses both encryption, asymmetric also and symmetric also. Very, very important. In which case asymmetric encryption is used? Guys, asymmetric encryption is used when it is establishing the secure initial session between client and server. That is where asymmetric encryption is used. In which case symmetric encryption is used? When you exchange your data. See, first your secure session is built that you have trusted each other, then data is exchanged. In that case, symmetric encryption is used within a secure session. Trust me, guys, these are the basic things interviewer will ask. They will not ask you how F5 works, how SSL works in F5. That is the second thing they will ask. But they will ask you this question in every interview, whether SSL and TLS uses symmetric encryption or asymmetric encryption. Okay, guys. Now let's come into further point. So this was all about your symmetric and asymmetric plus what is certificate. Now, what is the next thing which comes into picture is SSL handshake. How SSL handshake works. Very, very important, my favorite topic. Then we will talk about how F5 SSL works. So let's go one by one and examine it. So I will take a picture. I have already taken a picture. We will discuss. So there are 7 steps when we talk about SSL handshake, guys. Trust me, guys, this is important topic. This is used in firewalls. This is used in F5. This is used in other technologies also, where a SSL handshake comes into picture. So now let's discuss. First packet, when I want to initiate between client to F5, first packet I will send is that is called your client hello. Whenever I establish a secure connection, SSL handshake is nothing but a conversation between client and F5 so that my connection is secure. So SSL handshake is nothing but a conversation between two parties which want to establish a secure communication or which want to establish the encryption connection between client and server. That is where SSL handshake is required. If you trust each other, then you only handshake, right? If you don't trust each other, so that is where your SSL handshake is required. Now the first packet, what does the first packet looks like now? First packet is client hello. If you see here, when client begins a connection with F5, first packet is client hello. In this, guys, there will be a protocol version in Cipher suite, which is will introduced. Can you see this where you can see protocol? Anyone? You must be seeing protocol here. Where is the protocol? Can someone check it? So you can see here is the protocol TLS version 1.2. And what are Cipher suites? So whenever client is sending a packet to F5, it will send a client hello. And this, it will send SSL TLS version, which my browser is supporting. Second thing, Cipher suite supported by client. So these are the two things which are being introduced. Okay. This is the first thing which comes into the picture when SSL handshake is required. And what is cipher suit now, guys? Cipher suits are nothing but a combination of encryption and authentication algo. Like in IPsec, you initiate a connection, right? You initiate a keys and encryption and authentication algo. The same thing here it comes. If you see there, you have seen SHA-1, SHA-2, SHA-3, AES and DES. The same thing is here. So that is called cipher suits in F5. So if someone asks you what are cipher suits, who can tell me what is cipher suit in F5? Anyone? When I talk about cipher suits, what are cipher suits in F5? Or what is simple cipher suits if someone asks you? So cipher suit is just a combination of encryption and authentication algo. That is what you can answer. So it is a complete set. Can you see this? It is a complete set of algos which is used to build a secure connection. You need to make a secure connection, right? You need an algo. So that is where this makes your algo. Can you see this? This is Cipher with AES and SHA. That is a combination of authentication and encryption algo. So you need to see what is the key exchanges uses, what is the authentication algo. So it is a combination of key exchange algo and authentication algo both. This is the first packet, guys, when you see through Wireshark. What is the protocol? So there are some scenarios, guys. Someone will say, hey, my SSL handshake is getting failed between client to F5. People will report some issue that my website is not accessible. Okay, this is the issue which they will come to know. First thing what you will check. My question is, guys, I'm discussing not the troubleshooting question, which is important. In interview, they will ask you, my website is not working fine. I have a website which is published on F5. This website is not working fine. What is the first troubleshooting step? First troubleshooting is DNS. You will check whether the name resolution is happening fine or not. What is the second step you will see? Anyone? First step is I have seen. What is the next step you want to see when your handshake is getting failed? Anyone? Second step is TCP handshake. After TCP handshake is fine, what is the next step you will see? Your DNS resolution is working fine. Your TCP handshake is fine. You will check SSL handshake. Now in SSL handshake, it's getting fail. What you will check? Why it is getting fail? So in that case, mostly it gets failed because your protocol version is mismatch. Your protocol version gets mismatched between client and F5. Second thing, cipher suits. These are the two important things which comes into picture when we talk about SSL handshake or how HTTPS works. Trust me, guys, this will help you to understand the troubleshooting. These issues you will get every time. So when client send a request to website, it sends the protocol and the cipher suits. After that, when F5 receives a packet, now F5 receives a client hello. Okay. Now F5 will send a server hello. In server hello, what it will send? Just see. In server hello, it will see send the SSL version it has and the cipher suits. And he will say that I want to use TLS 1.2 and this is the cipher suits which I have picked from your client hello packet. So let's use this. Client hello send the SSL version and Cipher suit. Server says that okay, this from this the list which you have sent in client hello, I want to use this protocol plus this Cipher suit. If this is not matching, guys, then your SSL handshake is fail. Very, very important. In server hello, see, server will see the list of version and Cipher source and in client hello, and it will pick the latest one, newest one, which server is able to use. And server will send a message to client that, hey, I want to use this version and Cipher suit. Very easy. It's not difficult, guys. Just remember it. Now the third packet, server key exchange, guys. After server hello, there will be server key exchange. What will happen in this? In every stage, you need to understand what is happening. When server and client agree to use SSL version, guys, and Cipher suit, next step is server will send F5. Here server means F5. It will send certificate and public. So it will send its public key certificate, both public key and certificate. Then client will validate the server certificate, guys. So there comes the picture of certificate authority. Your browser also to trust, right? Your browser does not trust self-signed certificate, guys. Your browser should always trust the certificate which is sent by a client. So that is why certificate authority comes into picture, guys. Read this line. Web browser store a list of root certificate. So this root certificate are generally trusted, but when server certificate, which is issued by this, that needs to be trusted by your root certificate. So it is a chain of trust which will happen, guys. Very, very important. So what will happen? We have a root certificate, then we have an intermediate, then we have a server certificate. Server certificate is nothing but a website certificate or a SIANETS certificate, you can say. So this certificate will trust by intermediate. Intermediate will sign this. If it is signed by intermediate, root will trust this. So web browser always trusts root certificate authority. Root certificate trust intermediate. Very important. It's a chain. Let's say Ram, Sham, Krishan. If Sham says that Krishan is trusted, Ram will say that okay, I'm trusting because you are saying that Krishan is trusted person. So it is the same way chain of trust certificate happens. Your web browser generally trust root certificate, root trust certificate, trust intermediate. If its server certificate is issued by a trusted certificate or intermediate, then browser can trust your server certificate. Very, very important. After that, you can see certificate here, guys. This is the certificate which will be sent. Once this server certificate is sent, and after that, second thing, it is sending the public key. So this public key is included in your certificate only, which is sent by your server. After that, further on, client and server can use this public key to encrypt. So I told you public key is basically used to encrypt your data, and private key is used to decrypt your data. Very, very important, guys. So here you can see public. And can you see this? Server never shares its private key. So private key always remains with you only. always your public keys get exchanged. Now, what we have done so far is client hello, server hello, server key exchange. Fourth step is client key exchange. See, until now, all the information which is sent between client and server is unencrypted. Now, client gets your server public key. It gets your F5 public key. Now, what will client do? It will generate a random session key. That is called pre-master key, guys. And how it will encrypt that key? It will encrypt that session key with server public key. So whatever client has received from server or F5, it will use that key to encrypt that session key. Why it is getting encrypted? So that no one can read that data. Now, once this session key is encrypted, it will be sent to the server. And this encrypted session key can only be decrypted by server private key. Very, very important, guys. That is why I say public key, if you get it, then also you will not able to decrypt the data. You need public key and private key both to decrypt it. That is why SSL handshake is secure. That is why it makes your handshake secure. First client hello, then server authentication, then key exchange. So this is where key exchange is happening. There is a random key, session key, which has been generated. Now client will encrypt this session key using server public key. And server can use this private key, his own private key, to decrypt it. Now see, only server has the private key. So only client and server can know this session key. Now guys, till here that was a, so guys, till here what is happening? This is asymmetric encryption which is happening or symmetric? Till step 3 and 4, what is happening? Is it asymmetric encryption or symmetric? Did we exchange any data? So this all step are asymmetric encryption steps. Now what will happen? We will see step 5 now. Can you see this line? Session key is only valid in one session. If user closes the client, if it visits the same server the next day, a new session key will be generated. That is the random key. Now guys, there is a step comes which is called symmetric algo. Now there is a next step which comes into picture is called symmetric algo. We will see this next step. So here step 5 comes is change cipher packet. So what does it means is it this packet sent means that your client and server agreed that we both agree on the session key which is generated, and all our further data will be protected using that key. So client and server will send each other an encrypted message saying that the key information is correct, and further they will encrypt the data using that random session key. Very, very important. So after key exchange, this is a secure connection which is built now. So they both have a shared session key which will be used to encrypt and decrypt HTTP packets. So they both agree on all the cipher suits protocol. Now data transfer is happening using session key. And this all packets will get encrypted using that session key. So in that case, they will send an HTTP request. You will get an HTTP response. So all this is encrypted using session key, shared session key, you can say, guys. Very, very important, guys. So there are 6 packets which is been happened in SSL handshake. Now we will talk about how SSL handshake or how SSL works in F5. How we call certificate, how we create CSR. So we will see SSL lab in F5. So when I talk about SSL in F5, guys, there are 3 terms which you need to understand. First, SSL offloading. Second, SSL bridging. Third one is SSL pass through. Very, very important question in interview. What does these 3 means? SSL pass through, SSL bridging, and SSL offload. So what does this 3 indicate in F5? So let's go one by one and check it. So offloading, what does offloading mean, guys? Offloading basically means is currently what happened was previously there was no F5 in the picture. Your server was encrypting and decrypting your HTTPS packet. But due to that, your server was responsible to initiate or decrypt your packet. But they did not have any SSL card. They do not have SSL hardware. Server was working slow. Hundred of requests were getting, but they cannot decrypt or encrypt because server does not have SSL engine. They do not have an hardware acceleration as SSL engine that can take the load. So SSL encryption and decryption was not happening properly. You were getting slowness issues. Now, what happened? F5 came into picture. F5 told that I will take your offload. Whatever encryption and decryption you are doing it, I will take it so that you will only get decrypted packet. I will do encryption and I will decrypt it and send to your server. So I will take a responsibility to negotiate. So F5 takes a SSL offload. SSL offload means that all the SSL processing will be done by F5. All encryption and decryption will be done by F5. Full member will only have your unencrypted traffic. Very, very important. That just means offload. Offload means I'm offloading a pressure from someone. When we join in company, manager says, please offload him so that your pressure becomes less. So that is the same meaning here. So your server will receive all encrypted data. Second advantage, your encryption and decryption will done by F5 means it has a dedicated hardware. So it has a separate SSL hardware acceleration card which is available in F5. And that is not expensive, it is available. And it has all the certificate inventory. In server, you do not have a dedicated common inventory. Common inventory means I do not know when the certificate is getting expired or not. In F5, it maintains a repository, common repository, which I will show you. That is the meaning of SSL offload. So by picture, what I am saying is client sends a packet to F5. Then let's say this is a server. This is a pool member. Now, when I access a website, https sianets.com, what will happen is this packet F5 will do encrypt. Now it will decrypt it and read your HTTP packet, what is coming it. Then it will send unencrypted packet. So this connection is encrypted and this connection is unencrypted. So that is what happened in SSL offload. Very, very important, guys. That is where SSL offloading comes into picture. And trust me, guys, this question will be asked. What is SSL offloading? What is SSL pass-through? And what is SSL bridging? So offload means only client to F5 will be encrypted. F5 to the server will be unencrypted. So F5 traffic will encrypt, SSL will finish here. Then clear text data will be happening between F5 to the server. And what profile I will need here, guys? This is the question. Here I need client SSL profile. So let's do a lab for SSL offloading first. So when I need to do a lab for SSL offloading, guys, what are the things required? First thing, I will need a certificate and key. From where I need a certificate and key, guys? From certificate authority. So how you will get that certificate key? You need to raise a CSR. Please understand this step, guys. What does CSR means? This is a certificate signing request. This is just like a form which you need to fill and forward to your certificate authority. Now, what is this? I will show through lab. Let's raise a CSR first. I will go to F5. I will log in through my credential. Now, where you need to raise a CSR, all the things related to certificate will come in this system tab, guys. Now, in this system tab, you will see there is a concept called file management. Here you will see SSL certificate. Now I need to raise a CSR. So you need to click on create. So there are two options. One is import, one is create. So let's say sometimes customer will directly give you certificate and key. In that case, you just need to import it. That is the thing. Sometimes they will say, can you generate a CSR? We need to forward into CA. Then you can generate from F5. Sometimes they generate from their server CSRR and they will give you certificate and key that you need to import. So there are two options. One is import, one is create. Either customer can give you certificate and key, or you need to import, create your CSR first. Then you need to forward to customer. Customer will forward to CA. Then CA will, in both the case, you will get certificate and key. But sometimes customer will say, I don't have CSR. I don't know how to generate a CSR. So they will say, please generate from F5 and forward to me. I will forward that CSR to CA. Then CA will check my identity and it will generate my certificate. That is the process which it does. But we need to import certificate and key finally. First, we need to raise a form to CA. CA will ask some details. What are the details they ask? That I will show you. I will go to create. So can you see this name? So here I will give the name SIANETS.com or my company name. I will say SIANETS. Can you see this? There are two certificates. One is self-signed and one is certificate authority. Should I generate a self-signed certificate or should I forward to certificate authority? I am saying forward to certificate authority. What does this common name means? This is here, it will come your website name. What is that organization? In which state it's there? So I need to change, let's say, to Delhi. After that country, after that email ID. Do you need any SAN certificate for multiple website? That's it. This is a CSR, guys, which is telling the details to because certificate authority is an organization which gives you certificate. So they first need to identify your identity. Let's say when you go to Aadhaar center, they will first ask you about your photo. They will first you ask about your validity. So the same thing, certificate authority. So certificate, before generating a certificate for any domain, they will ask you what's your email ID, from where you are. So that is called identity. So you will create, finish. Because I don't have certificate authority right now, this is the CSR file you will get. This file you need to forward to any of your certificate authority, global sign, VeriSign, anyone. The CSR, first you generated a CSR, then you will forward this CSR to customer. Customer will then forward this CSR to certificate authority. Certificate authority will give you certificate and key. So CA will give you certificate and key to customer. Now customer will forward this certificate to Vidit. Now what Vidit needs to do? Vidit needs to upload this certain key. Where? In F5. Very, very important 6 steps when we do SSL offloading. Very, very important, guys. 20-30% people in operations do this task regularly. So this 30% work in F5 in organization will come related to certificates, guys. Okay. Now I got a certificate and key. So I will do a lab with self-signed certificate because I don't want to pay money and buy the certificate and key. What I will do? So these 6 steps, guys, you can write. Very, very important. CSR generation from F5. Then this file needs to give to customer. Customer will give this file to certificate authority, that is called CA. CA will assign certificate and public key, and that will get to customer. Customer will forward to my organization, who is an F5 engineer. Then F5 engineer will upload an certificate and key in F5. I will delete. Now I will have a certificate self-sign. Let's do a lab with self-sign. I will go to create. I will say self sign SIANETS. I will say issuer self. That's it. Can you see this lifetime? 365 days, 2 years, 3 years, depends. Finish. Now can you see I got certificate and key. Key, you can see key is always remain in your box. This is your private key. And this is your certificate because this is self-signed. Self-signed means F5 is only signing it. Now you think that I got a certificate and key, I upload it here. And how to upload certificate and key, guys? You need to go to SSL certificate import. This is where you import your certificate and key. Mostly you will get a certificate and key in PEMP format, guys. Your format always should be .pemp. So this is the format where you will get your cert and key. Always ask your customer, I need certificate and key in PEMP format. So Big IP always store SSL and certificate in PEMP format. Very, very important, guys. So here you just select here PKCS. You will give the certificate name profile name, whatever you want to give, password you want to give, you can give it. Your certificate and keys are stored in PEM format. And what is the form extension? .crt. .crt extension. So PEM is the most common format for your certificate authority. It can be .pfx, that will also work. It can be .p12 extension. So this is the format in which your certificates and keys are remain. And how you upload? You go to here, file management, SSL certificate. You click on import and you can import. You can import keys and certificates separately also. So once you import this, guys, what is the next step? First step, I have imported certificate and key, which I got from CA, Certificate Authority. Next step, I will create an SSL profile. How to create SSL profile? I will go to local traffic profile. Now I will go to SSL client profile because I'm doing lab for client SSL. So I will create one profile. Here I will say SIANETS client SSL. Here it is important, guys. You just click on advanced. Here you need to click on custom. Here you need to apply certificate and key which you got it. So you need to create add. I will say self-signed because I'm using self-signed. Add. So this is called your chain of trust. I was talking about root certificate, intermediate certificate, and your domain certificate. Here you need to call. And can you see these ciphers? Let's say customer sometimes says that I only want my negotiation or handshake on TLS 1.2. Please disable TLS 1.0, SSL v3, TLS 1.1 from virtual server. You get this task normally, guys. In your production environment, you will get this task that I need to disable TLS 1.2, sorry, 1.0, version 3 and 1.1. How you need to do, guys? You called your certificate and key, here you get. Click on option, here you will get. You will say no SSL. You will say no TLS. It means your SSL handshake protocol message will not get exchanged. If client is supporting TLS 1.2, but your F5 is not allowing it, here what I am saying is I will, if client sends me TLS version 1.1 to F5, F5 will not allow. And what you will get? What is the issue you will get, guys? F5 is saying I will not allow TLS 1.1. What you will get? Will my SSL handshake will successful? Here you will get SSL handshake failure. Because my F5 is saying that I don't support 1.1, but your browser only have 1.1. So this is the way how to disable weaker protocols. This requirement you will get very much. How to disable weak protocol from F5. So I will say no TLS, no SSL. So I'm only allowing TLS 1.2. REST protocol I have disabled. That's all. Now you will need to go downwards and finish. Now guys, we upload certificate and key. After that, we have created SSL profile. And in that we call this certain key. Okay. We uploaded this certificate and key there. In that, we have called that as in that. Now the next step is, what is the next step we need to do? We will call that SSL profile in our virtual server. Very, very important, guys. So we have uploaded certificate key, we bind to SSL profile. Now we will bind that SSL profile in our virtual server. It is the same way we have done with other things like how to create virtual server, pool members and pool. Now we will go to virtual server. I will create one virtual server. HTTPS SIANETS. I will give IP 192.168.1.190. What is the service port, guys? I will need to define here. Anyone? 80 or 443? 443. Do I need HTTP profile? Another interview question, guys. This question, as I told you, I will give you an interview question, and whoever is answer correct here, that we will take in Q&A. Do I need to assign? My question is, when I am creating an SSL handshake or SSL virtual server HTTPS on 443, do I require HTTP profile? So whoever answer this correct, you will get a prize today. On today only you will get it. Question is, when I create an HTTPS virtual server, do I need HTTP profile? I will ask this in Q&A. Whoever will answer it, I will not see the chat. I will ask you in Q&A. You need to speak up. This is the question. First question for today. Whoever will answer it, I will give you a prize. Now, client SSL I am assigning with HTTP profile and TCP. Now I will assign pool also. Pool I am assigning RR pool only. I have assigned HTTP profile. Now let me access this virtual server. HTTPS 192.168.1.190. What is happening, guys? Second question for today. I have created an HTTPS virtual server, but I am getting an error. How to disable or how to resolve this issue? That is the second question. What I have done it, why it is not working? What can be issue? Why this website is not working? So what I will do, I will go to profiles. I will go here in advanced configuration. I am allowing all weak protocols. Then we will see. Second question is that. Now the third question in Q&A for you guys. Why I have applied a certificate, but still it's saying that your connection is not trusted. Why? I am saying HTTPS. My connection is on HTTPS, but it's still saying that your attacker can steal your information. This is the third question. Whoever will be the winner, I will give you a prize. What is the issue? I am using HTTPS virtual server. I am using HTTPS profile, but it's still saying your connection is not private. My website is opening, but it is saying not secure. Why? So this lab is successful with SSL offloading. but there are some issues which I asked you. One, why do I need an HTTP profile? Second, SSL protocol mismatch error I am getting. Third, my certificate I have applied, but that is not trusted.